To every single one of you's a bit Jesus.
Sanctuary for all and sundry. I've been living in an allegory ever since you made advances on me. Since the day you sanctuary for all and sundry. I've been living in an allegory ever since you made advances on me. Since
Good evening, Alex. It's Bozeman here. Hope all's well with the family. Just a heads up, we're expecting those troublemakers at Disrupt to attempt to hack the channel during the broadcast, so keep an eye on the interference screen and stay out of the orange. Let's keep the news on the air. It's important, now more than ever.
And tonight he'll be screaming at some pensioners while they try and fashion a nutritious meal out of a can of condensed milk, a cow's tongue, and some rhubarb. Not one to miss.
So, Julia's team have asked me to ask you to keep it light.
Well, what does that mean?
It means do that thing you do where you turn politicians into humans. Just don't get drawn into talking about the war,
as we begin what is
politics
only
in
their
general.
second
They do know this is the news, don't they?
At 8:30
You didn't
p.m.
hear this
it's
from
over
me,
to
but-
Patrick Bannon for all the day's sports board highlights, including all the tabletop action from the
Apparently,
semi-finals of
there's a crew at Team HQ right now.
The sports
I think she's giving a speech or something tonight.
At
They'll get it on the
9, it's our
news.
nightly war
Oh,
report
great. So they get the brains and we get the performing
followed
monkey.
at 9:25 by our unsettling play.
Sometimes you sound just like him, you know.
Which tells the cautionary tale of
How
one
are
brave
you?
young lady's battles to survive the cruel administrations of our neighbours. At
It is what it
11:25,
is.
it's incisors. And
It
tonight,
is what it
Dr.
is.
Adrian Atkinson Blimey will be getting
I'm
his
listening
teeth
to you,
into
yeah.
Fiona from Hamble Bamblebury, who has invented a
10
tasty
seconds,
twist
everybody.
on the humble biscuit.
Oh,
And that
God,
takes
sorry.
us, after the weather and public information film,
Going in
into
5,
the close down.
4,
But first tonight,
3.
it's time to join Megan and the team for the National Nightly News.
Good evening. This is the National Nightly News. I'm Megan Wolfe. It's the 140th day of war. Our main headlines tonight. Company of heroes. Skirmishes on land and sea again today as our armed forces tested the mettle of the World Council's illegal blockade. Advance's strategy of multiple small-scale incursions into the disputed zone is certainly keeping the enemy on high alert, unable to work out where or when the next strike will come. Proud parents throughout the territory find themselves ever more impressed by the bravery and commitment of their incredible children and the job they're doing keeping supply lines open against all possible odds. Don't starve. Advance's food programme moved from strength to strength today as rationing depots were opened in the last remaining unfed areas of the territory. The rationing depots have been constructed in record time, and the government's agricultural coordination strategy has seen shelves restocked with increasing regularity. And judging by the looks on this happy family's faces, it can't come a moment too soon. They'll be getting a good meal tonight on the government, just like the rest of us. 7 days to die. The recent decision to allow those with long-term health conditions to access transition centres has today been declared an overwhelming success. Previously available only to those in their final years, the expansion of the service has been met with relief by the many organisations calling for it to be opened up to the wider community. With dwindling medical supplies leaving many of our most vulnerable facing chronic pain, it can come as no surprise that the transition centres have found themselves stretched to capacity. Populace. More than 11% of the population have thus far failed to register for a team membership card, a worrying statistic given that the cards are a legal requirement from midnight tonight. While applications are still open for those who like to run fashionably late, they can expect a few tricky questions from Advance. Start me up. Disrupt spokesman Alan James held an impromptu rally today in the northern city of Mankipool. Large crowds gathered to hear the band speaker prove Disrupt are still able to capture the public's imagination. Community cohesion officers found themselves challenged by the unruly mob element always present at Disrupt events, but thankfully managed to keep violent incidents to a minimum. And finally tonight, our mutual friend. Bail was denied in the High Court today for shamed former National Nightly News anchor Jeremy Donaldson. The presenter will be transferred to new lodgings at Pension Ridge Prison, while the lengthy preparations for his trial, which is still 18 months away, begin. Since being taken into custody 10 weeks ago in this very studio, little has been heard from our former colleague. Despite how things ended, we wish him the best, and we'll be sure to bring you all the details of that court case every night. But first tonight, with the war about to enter its 21st week, I'll be chatting with Peter Clement live in an exclusive team talk from his home in Landfordshire. Don't go away, you won't want to miss a second of tonight's National Nightly News. I'm thrilled to say I'll be chatting with mega pop star Lil C, who's going to be treating us to a world premiere of her new single. And then after that, in part 3, we've got something new I promise you won't want to miss. But first tonight, let's check in with Prime Minister Peter Clement, who's coming to us through the magic of television all the way from his home in Landfordshire. Are you receiving me, Prime Minister?
Loud and clear, Miss Wolf. Loud and clear.
Well, let's start with the obvious. What's that in your hand, Prime Minister?
Cheeky cow. But yeah, it's true. 75 days without an alcoholic drink, and I've got to say, I'm beginning to feel the benefits.
It certainly looks that way.
Well, I made a promise to Mrs. C, and as my old man used to say...
a promise is worth keeping?
But something like that, only with assholes.
So, I've heard from my sources that you and the illustrious Mrs. C plan to take your winter break somewhere a little different this year.
That's right. We're planning a walking holiday right here in the territories, which is different for us because, like you, Megan, I've always been a big fan of those warm foreign beaches.
Did you make this decision because of the blockade, Prime Minister?
Well, no, that's a good question. Well, as you know, while the blockade has effectively restricted the flow of goods into the country, we and our neighbours have continued to allow unimpeded travel for business leaders, ministers and such. So, although me and the missus could theoretically go to that gorgeous beach I just mentioned, it just doesn't smell much like team spirit to me. After all, as my old man used to say, when life gives you shite, make shite pie.
It works just as well with lemons and lemonade.
I suppose it does.
Prime Minister, maintaining a healthy body like yours at a time of national crisis must require some demanding planning. What's your regime and how do you go about it all?
Well, the truth be told, it's all down to Claude, my infinitely patient personal trainer. He's a man with a plan. I'm just the prat with a fat.
Well, on that very subject, how are you and Mrs. C handling living on rations?
Well, let me tell you, Megan, back in the 50s, when I worked for you backstage for your Patrick Brannan's dad, did you know I did that?
I think everyone knows that, Prime Minister.
Well, what you probably didn't know was that Graham Bannon was a right tightwad, paid the bare bloody minimum and still found every possible excuse he could to dock your pay even further. I remember he once docked me a whole $5 for having an unacceptably smelly lunchbox, type bastard. Anyway, what I'm saying is back then I ate a lot less than I am now, even under rationing. We all did. And let's face it, there are still plenty of people in this country who could afford to lose a little bit of weight.
What are you implying? No, but seriously, Prime Minister, we know you're very busy, but one final question, if I may.
Oh, well, go on then.
When you get home from a long day, your head full of the territory's hopes and fears, what music do you listen to when you work out to take your mind off things?
Well, I know I've got a bit of a reputation for being an old fuddy-duddy, but I'd be lying if I didn't say there's something about Little C that just demands one's attention.
Well, let's hope you stay watching, Prime Minister, because she is going to be talking and performing live after the break.
Oh, I'll be watching. After all, as my old man used to say, everything's a treat on a boring Friday with nothing but the wind up your shunt.
It's Wednesday, Prime Minister.
I think the expression still stands.
Peter Clement, thank you for joining me. I don't know about you at home, but I think there's something kind of inspirational there. I know I feel safer. When we come back, Lil C is going to be giving us the debut performance of her new single, and I'll be getting to meet her. As her biggest fan, I don't mind telling you I'm pretty excited. Don't go away. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back. Gripping stuff.
Was that even news?
I think you forgot to ask him.
Here at Advance, we know that for many of you these are frightening times, but you should not be afraid, because the team is here to defend you, to protect you, and to make sure that you stay free to enjoy all of the benefits of our new society. We are not a territory that chooses to live in fear. We will not cower or avert our eyes at the sight of injustice. But we are a brave and
You'll no doubt have spotted the updated mixing desk. You'll need the new buttons during the next sections. First, we'll need applause when the guest enters and before her song. Don't worry, I'll walk you through it when we get there.
We have built world-leading scientific and cultural communities. As a team, we have kept our people well fed throughout this war. Because as a team, we cannot fail to thrive, even in this most challenging of times. And one day, soon now, when this turbulent time is behind us...
I've never heard of her before.
She's big, really big.
Really? Yeah. She any good?
Nah, of course not. She's dog shit. Oh. But kids go mad for her, absolutely mad.
Live in 10 seconds.
Hang on, Colin, you've got kids?
Yeah, I've got about 6 or 7, I think.
What?
5, 4, 3...
Thanks for coming back. Later, we have an exciting new feature that we just know you're going to love, so stay tuned for that. But first, I'm really excited for our next guest. She rose to prominence as the delightful Susie May in All My Daughter's Children's Men, before taking the music industry by storm this year with her debut album smashing the chart records at the age of just 20. Let's give it up and welcome Lil C!
I just say, you look incredible.
Oh, thanks, babe. I'm doing this new regime and it really does work.
Ooh, what's the regime?
My manager suggested it to me. It basically involves bathing in, like, cabbage water and then having the leaves sucked out of you while you sleep.
Wow, is that healthy?
Oh, well, look at me, Meg. The leaves are my only nourishment.
Yep, they certainly are. Now, you'll have to forgive me, but I'm somewhat of a super fan, so I'm sorry if I get a bit starstruck.
Oh, bless you. I've never actually heard of you before, so if you do get a little tongue-tied, I can always carry the interview.
Oh, that's good to know. So your first album, F My Face Together, it hit shelves this summer and it just exploded. I mean, what was that like for you?
Bonkers, just so weird. I was in all the papers and the magazines. Overnight, I went from that, like, annoying little girl from that show to that, like, sexy little girl from that show.
Wow, that must have been bizarre.
Not really, it was just like any other morning. You know, get up at 5, go on a 4-mile run, have 3 meetings on my cabbage bath, but then only then was my dad actually talking to me.
Oh, of course. I mean, the famed country singer, Billy Bob Jean Short. I didn't know you'd been estranged.
There's nothing that strange about it, Megan. OK, yes, he may believe that aliens told him to hate women, but there really isn't anything to prove that he's wrong.
Uh-huh. So, this newfound explosion into your popularity, I mean, did that change your life?
Well, I had to start wearing, like, nice underwear, you know, for the paparazzi, but as my manager says, best to make the most of it before I'm 30.
Is that right? So what's the album about?
So I thought it was about, like, how pretty and great I am, but actually it's about monetising youth, I think, or about, like, promoting an unrealistic standard of beauty or something.
Your manager again?
Yeah, he says insecurity is an opportunity.
Oh, do you think he'd be happy with you telling us all this?
Telling you all what? It really doesn't matter what I say here. I'll do my dancing and then this part will all be forgotten about.
Oh. Well, yeah, I mean, we're going to see some of those famous dance moves very shortly because you're going to be performing your new single, aren't you?
Yeah, it's from my album Put It In My A Together and it's out tomorrow.
So soon, after the last one?
Oh yeah, I've actually released 2 albums since lunchtime and a clothing line during this interview. See, this is called Cry for Help and it's going to be in all the best high street and retailer shops and it's out now. So girlies, you know what to do. Scream and cry until somebody gets it for you.
Ooh. There she goes. Blimey. All these projects, they're keeping you very busy, aren't they? It must be tough.
Yeah, it can get tough and I hate it sometimes and I hate myself. I just want to, like, cry into a bath of root veg. But then I think thousands of girls would do anything to be me, so I must be quite lucky.
Well, you know you don't have to do this though, don't you?
Yeah, I do think that sometimes. Most nights between, like, my 4th vodka and the 8th time a stranger slaps me around the arse. I think things could have been different, you know, like better. But I don't know. I love doing autographs and having somebody dress me and tell me what to wear.
Did you always want to do music?
Well, ever since I was a little girl, I did. I'd sit in front of the radio, and as soon as my favourite girl group would come on, I'd press record on my cassette. But then my dad would come in and tell me to turn it off and to go back upstairs and start practising again.
Oh, sorry, is your dad your manager?
Yeah, which can be tough. And sometimes when it gets really hard, he'll say, "Make Quagler proud and you might just survive childbirth."
Well, you know what, despite anything, you'll make me proud.
Oh, if only your opinion was as valuable as his.
And on that problematic note, you're going to be singing your song for us soon, aren't you? Tell me about it, So
it's called These Babies Gonna Bring You Home, and I actually got sent the lyrics in the car on the way up here. But you know what, it's actually all right. And don't worry, all my work is team approved.
All right then, well, you can go and get ready for that. We'll see you in a little bit. It was a very specific type of pleasure to chat to her, and I just can't wait to hear this. Oh, so here's Lil C with an exclusive first performance of her new track, These Babies Gonna Bring You Home. Take it away.
It's the Force's favorite, the queen of teams, here to break in your blockades, Lil C.
Oh baby, can't you see I'm hungry? There's a place in me that's empty. I want that meat you're packing, only you can fill that crack in me. I'm under siege, so come and free me. Ain't no disruption here, boy, I got no agenda. Just want the team and me, no dirty foreign member. Don't stop no morning drill, there's holes in me that ain't been filled yet. I only scream this loud when you do your country proud. I ain't no vicar's daughter, come and skirmish on my border. Quick before I get much older, tie me down and pull me like an enemy soldier. An enemy soldier. So let them try and break our dream. We fight and love and die at two. So what if Peter Clemens boys can come and use me as a toy? I wanna see some action, so come and break my sanctions. I've been this wild and free since Mom unburdened me. She was only 53, but gave to save her family. There's no one judging me if I'm the one that's in your fantasy. Don't die alone, these babies gonna bring you home. I ain't no vicar's daughter, come and skirmish on my border. Quick before I get much older, tie me down and pull me like an enemy soldier. An enemy soldier. So what if Peter Clemens boys can come and use me as a toy and flip me over, grab my hair, rip off my clothes and dump them there? I wanna see some action, so come and break my sanctions.
Well, if that doesn't distract you from the world outside, I don't know what will. I'd like to thank Lil C for doing that. Don't go anywhere. After the break, we'll finally be revealing the new segment of our show that we just know you're going to love. We'll be back right after this.
And we're out.
Can I just say, thank you so much for letting me do this. It really means a lot to me, you know.
Yeah.
To be able to promote myself on such a mainstream platform like the news.
Well, don't worry about it. And you know what? Good luck for the future. Take care of yourself. This industry can be crazy sometimes. Watch out for that father of yours. Won't you?
Oh, no. I manage myself. It's just, you know, for the public to have that certain perspective on me. You know what it's like.
Oh, right.
And Michael? Michael?
What about Billy Bob Jean Short? Is he?
Oh, my dad. He's such a sweetheart.
This next section will need you to use all 4 of the sound effects to help things along. Try and pick the most appropriate one at each given moment. The actors can't hear what you're doing, so they'll be trusting you to make the right choices.
There were exactly 12, as it said in your diary.
Do I look like the sort of person who counts things? No, 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 not anymore. I'm better than that now. I'll tell you what, just keep adding flowers until it feels like 12. Got it?
Absolutely, right away. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3.
Thanks for joining us for part 3. We've been teasing you about our new feature all night, and now The wait is finally over. I can reveal that every night on the show we'll be treated to an episode of an informative and hilarious new segment called The Notice Board. It stars some top talent and we're very excited about it. But before we see it, let's have a quick chat with the writer and phenomenon, may I say, Jeff Algebra, guys.
Actually, I've got the algebra. I go by Jeff DePlume now. How'd you like that?
Well, yeah, very fancy. I suppose you need a new name now that you're a successful artiste.
Well, exactly. I'm earning enough to pay taxes now.
Oh.
It's shit.
And how does Angela feel about all this?
Who?
Your wife.
Oh, God, no.
No?
No, she's long gone. No, she was holding me back. I'm with Norm now. We were married last month.
Norm?
Offering me 25 grand to write a pro-team sitcom. And I heard my father's voice. It said, Jeff, you listen here, boy. You make hay while the sun shines. You wring every penny you can get out of this. So I wheeled him down to the transition centre, got out my typewriter and started clacking.
Wow.
Utter shite.
And without further ado, let's give it up for the notice board.
You have to play a sound effect, Alex. Yes, yes, now you're getting it. Keep going.
Good morning, Miss Craven.
Oh, morning, Ray.
Everything all right, Mrs. Craven? You look as worried as the vicar in closing time.
Oh, Ray, it's those young louts. They've vandalised my shop again.
No!
Yes! They've written all sorts of obscene language and crude pictures, and I know it's those damn youths.
I don't know. It could be the vicar at closing time.
I'm just worried they won't ever become productive members of the community. What if they never see the error of their ways and end up as social outcasts, such as shoplifters or bong rats?
Don't worry, Mrs. Craven. This is a very supportive community, and I'm sure that in time they will fit into this society like this key into this lock. See? Works like a charm.
What a lovely way to put it, Ray. And just like that, we can unlock their future.
Yes, yes. Wow! Look at all the letters in my collection today.
Oh! I think that one's addressed to me.
What? This one? Oh, so you're right. Here it is.
It's a letter from my granddaughter, Brenda. She says she got an A on her maths exam because one of her friends has been helping her. She was always a team player, was our Brenda.
What's up, losers? Hey?
Oh, no. It's Brad. He's the coolest guy in the village.
That's right. I just got here on my motorbike.
Oh, clear off, Brad. We don't want any of your ilk around here.
What? Rad dudes?
No, ruffians. Have you come to tag the notice board with your gang signs?
No way. I've actually come to pin my resume on that notice board. I'm looking to do some tutoring after school.
What? Did you say tutoring?
That's right. Maths is very important. Would you mind, Ray?
Not at all.
So you, a young person, have been spending your time helping others and not just urinating on churches or huffing glue?
Hey! I haven't huffed glue for months!
Well, blow me down!
You know what? We misjudged you based on how young and cool you are and not on your actions.
No doy!
So it wasn't you who vandalised my shop last night or called me a rancid old crone from the back of a chopper?
No way, it can't have been me. I was too busy helping my friend Brenda with her maths homework.
Could you speak up there? I thought for a minute there that you said Brenda.
I did, you daft old sow.
Did you hear that, Ray?
Oh, yes, what a wonderful surprise. I now respect you as a man.
Put her there, Ray. Oh, what the heck? Give us a hug.
We are receiving some breaking news. I'm being told we are picking up reports from across the continent of what appear to be, what appear to be nuclear explosions in 4 major foreign cities. Initial estimates put the death toll into, they put them into millions. I'm being told we're experiencing some power shortages as a result, so apologies for the interruption. And apparently we can go live now to team headquarters for an emergency broadcast from Prime Minister Julia Salisbury any moment. Yes, let's go to that now.
Good evening, citizens and leaders of the world. Minutes ago, operatives working for Advance detonated nuclear explosives simultaneously in 4 major cities across the continent. We have similar devices in 58 other urban centres and will not hesitate to detonate them if our conditions are not met in full and without delay. The people of our territory will no longer tolerate your illegal and genocidal blockade. You are to remove it immediately. We will accept nothing less than your unconditional surrender. Your territories will be taken under our control. We will install replacement governments to ensure that your citizens become part of the new future. Your borders are now our borders. Your people are our people. They will finally be fed and clothed and educated and healed. But for your privileged few, the moment that they feared is now upon them. Allow me to be crystal
multiple
clear.
Acts of mass destruction
If you
in our
fire
name.
a single shot at our territory, or harm a single one of our citizens, we will not hesitate to detonate further devices.
None of us did. Then
no doubt you are already searching for them. Our technology is decades ahead of yours. We will expect your complete acceptance of our terms by midnight tonight. Thank you.
I don't really talk about my personal life in my job. It's not relevant or important. So many of you may be surprised to learn that I have a brother. His name is David. And right now, I can't get his stupid face out of my head. He's a researcher and he's currently travelling the continent for work. And I don't know where he is right now. And I should imagine that there are many of you sitting at home tonight digesting this news, and you also have loved ones on the continent, in Urkistan, or Havia, or San Palmerino, or Konislava, which is where David was when I last spoke to him 3 days ago. So when I tell you I know how you are feeling tonight, believe me, I do. But I also know that there's a flow to events. I see it every day here. I know that although tonight it feels like we may be in a time of fear and darkness, we may actually be at the break of a new dawn. We don't know that yet. We can't know that yet, but together we will find out. And I will be here every night, feeling what you are feeling. And with your help, maybe we can all get to that brave new world. My name's Megan Wolfe. Let's make tomorrow better.
And we're out. We've got people ringing round, but the telephone networks are overloaded.
Sanctuary for all and sundry. I've been living in an allegory ever since you made advances on me. Since the day you came along, we've walked on hand in hand, and as we've grown together, I've come to understand that you act for the best in me and shower me with charm, but your grip has slowly tightened, and I should be more alarmed, but baby, I've been living it's awfully nice if you don't think twice. I've been living in a paradise ever since you made advances on me. I've been living where the food is free, a sanctuary for all and sundry. I've been living in an allegory ever since you made advances on me. Since the day you came along, we've walked on hand in hand, and as we've grown together, I've come to understand that you act for the best in me and shower me with charms, but your grip has slowly tightened, and I should be more alarmed.
Can you hear me? Alex? Are you receiving? Calling. Come in, Alex. Can you hear the signal? Pick up. Alex, are you receiving? Pick up. This is Alan James. The revolution starts tonight, Alex, and to be frank, we need your help. I know you've never been that sympathetic to our cause, but since the bombs, well, you've seen what happened. They have to be stopped, Alex. You know it in your heart, and tonight, well, it might be our very last chance. Play our tape at the second break. It's on your right. And please, when I hack in, let my message reach the people just once, just tonight, before advance can't be stopped.
Very last episode, Just a Job.
So what?
How's he doing?
How should I know?
What, you haven't heard from him?
He's a wanted criminal, Colin.
So's my nan, but she never misses her birthday.
Your grandmother's on the run, Colin.
Yeah. Armed robbery, resisting arrest, double homicide on the same bloke. She's right laugh.
I hope he's all right, though.
No. He's got this far, and your brother was fine.
Going in 10 seconds, everybody.
I wonder what they're doing to him.
Annoying him, probably.
Not probably, definitely.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening. This is the National Nightly News broadcasting across the territories. My name is Megan Wolfe. Our top stories tonight. Future legend. It's been 40 days since Disrupt conducted multiple attacks across the territories. During the coordinated action, subsequently dubbed the Night of Fire, emergency services were kept busy at the agricultural centres, while a series of covert attacks were carried out freeing political prisoners, including former newsman Jeremy Donaldson. The disgraced former journalist was obviously considered a high-value target by Disrupt, who had often championed him as a possible new voice for their cause. We encourage you to turn yourself into the CCOs, Jeremy, if you can, wherever you are right now. Food, glorious food. With the last of the menu centres opening in territories 5, 8 and 14 today, Advance confirmed that the programme is now in full operation, providing free food for every citizen of the new future. What started as rationing during the 20-week war has blossomed into a social contract that is the envy of the unawakened world. Promising a healthy, nutritious diet designed to keep all citizens at peak performance, the menu centres used locally sourced produce for that farm-to-plate experience, without the need for spreading manure in your tighty-whities. Happy talk. Record happiness levels have been reported today across the territories. As more and more former countries join the new future, a survey carried out by scientists at Queensview University reveals a stunning fall in depression, self-harm and suicides, especially in those territories which have historically faced the most unjust of indivisions. Professors Whiff Piffle and Grantley Major said that their rigorous statistical analysis left them in no doubt that things are numerically better for everyone everywhere. So if you think you're feeling down in the dumps tonight, you're empirically wrong. Any dream will do. Oddball Disrupt spokesman Alan James today set out Disrupt's vision for what he calls a return to free society. However, the problematic provocateur avoided answering any questions on the movement's increasingly sinister tactics. This image, captured on a long lens by journalists working at the Daily Scandal, shows a clandestine meeting between former Prime Minister Jacob Hamilton-Mann and Ivan Brodovich, formerly of Kyrgyzstan, thought killed on Liberation Night. Is this part of Disrupt's secretive leadership? Mr. James refused to comment. 3 stories come to their ends today. Spankle Biters, Remington's Fist's junior employment opportunity scheme, today admitted its youngest ever worker, breaking new boundaries for Camp Busyfingers. Little Freddie Nails, seen here with his hammer, certainly proves that Sophia Remington has an instinct for success. With the production of Tat at an all-time high, the camp really has to be the crowning achievement of the unique CEO's time at the top, and it looks like she'll be there for many a year to come, possibly even until some of the workforce starts school. It's just a body. A picture received today has shed some light on the activities of the academics that were left behind in Dante's taint. The image seems to show that after the simpler scientists were sidelined from salvation, they've eschewed scholarly study in favour of physical intimacy. Their abandoned families insist that they're carrying out complex biological investigations, while this anchor points out that the scientists, they were always bound to experiment. Ailstorm. Residents of Bisleford are being warned to stay in their homes today as it seems to be raining beer. Hundreds of bottles of Headbutt Ale have been pelting the town since about 9 o'clock this morning. Headbutt Ale founder Johnny Hamsleeves says they have no idea of the cause and can't be held legally liable. There have been 8 cases of bludgeonings, 4 of lacerations, and 1 toddler arrested for being intoxicated while in charge of a tricycle. All that, plus we'll be taking a trip to Dangley Parts for the notice board, as well as getting a sneak peek at the hottest ticket in town. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News. But first, 500 days after the loss of a fine leader and a great man, the start of tonight's programme is dedicated to remembering and celebrating the life of Peter Clement. Patrick Bannon is live from Parliament Park, where Julia Salisbury will be breaking ground on what will soon be a memorial garden in Peter's honour. Patrick.
Listening to that old bitch lying through her teeth about missing that poor bastard.
Patrick.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
We're live.
Because I'm not being funny. Things were better with Peter, weren't they?
Patrick.
They were, and I don't mind saying it. They were, because he held her back. But now there's no stopping her.
Hello, Patrick, we're live.
Of course, can't say that, can I, Francis? No, not with public ownership. No, with public ownership, you can't say anything these days.
There.
No, she's lost it, mate. She's completely off the rocker. I heard from an aide that... Hello, Megan, you join me here live from the what? Hello, Megan, you join me here live from the what? Oh.
Seems like we've lost some signal there for a moment. Well, we will be going live to that groundbreaking ceremony just as soon as we can get Patrick back. Meanwhile, let me just say, I think the memorial gardens are going to be gorgeous. I've had a sneak peek at the designs and Alana Marsh has done a fabulous job. Oh, OK, all right, it seems like we have got the signal back. We can now go live to Patrick Bannon in Parliament Park. Patrick.
OK, thank you, Megan. I'm Patrick Bannon, and we are indeed live here. Apologies for the technical difficulties there, but any moment now, Julia Salisbury will step out on stage behind me.
Alex, Bozeman here. The boys in editing have just informed me that the eulogy footage isn't fully cut together yet. You're going to have to do it on the fly. For goodness sake, make sure you make it look good.
Slowly gathering since this afternoon.
This is Alan. You can undermine them here and help us win hearts and minds. Make him look bad, Alex. Really bad.
And it seems like the ceremony is getting underway. Here is Prime Minister Julia Salisbury, the picture of elegance, to begin her address.
Good evening, fellow teammates and friends. 500 days ago, all of our lives changed irrevocably. Still reeling from the triumphs and tribulations of Liberation Night, another great loss befell the people of these newly united territories. The loss of a leader, a statesman, a dear friend, and a hero. Peter Gordon Clement.
Peter's death at the age of just 62, of course, announced by the team on the 24th of December, just 6 weeks after Liberation Night.
Born to a working-class family on a housing estate in Rotherham, Peter first trained as a carpenter before getting his start on television. First moving and building scenery, and then developing into the personality that we all knew and loved so much.
Just the Job first hit our screens over 25 years ago, running for 11 series, winning multiple awards, and charming audiences up and down the country.
Peter taught us, all of us, not to be content with the way things are, not to accept inequities, no matter how small. But he also taught us what it took to fight them. Courage, integrity, empathy, and hard, bloody graft.
Across a career spanning 3 decades, Peter Clement was known for shows including Wake Up, It's Saturday, and much later, late-night chat show PT, which at its peak drew millions of viewers.
Peter was by no means a saint. Trust me, he once told me he had more regrets than he'd had stolen dinners. He always did have a knack for a turn of phrase. But it speaks to the strength of his character that he chose to share with us his mistakes alongside his achievements, his faults as well as his talents. Peter had the heart to give it all he had for the people of these united territories.
Famous for his potty mouth, it's estimated conservatively that Peter Clement uttered over 1.5 million swear words during his career, though some sources put this figure well in excess of 2 million F-bombs alone.
Gripped by illness as he was in the weeks and months leading up to Liberation Night, he wasn't the man we loved. But his eyes still twinkled with that familiar joy for life, that spark of wit and wisdom of a life lived for others.
Prime Minister Clement, of course, died from apparent liver failure after suffering from the long-term effects of alcohol abuse.
I first met Peter nearly 20 years ago. Moments before I was supposed to give a speech. Not unlike this one, actually. Only I'd spilt coffee all down myself. And I was young, nervous, desperate to be liked. And from behind me, I heard, "Christ, pet, you've either pissed your kecks or sprung a leak, but either way, you got a problem." And before I could even say a word, he stripped off his dry trousers and insisted I took them. That was the sort of man that Peter Clement was. Kind, compassionate, sensitive, a brilliant thinker, a natural leader, but mostly a good man. This shining beacon of
Thank you, Alex. There'll be another opportunity to steer public perception soon. It's really starting. You'll know when.
Despite his accomplishments, the future he forged, the boundaries he pushed, to me, he'll always be the man in his pants cheering on a stranger at the back of the conference. It is my great honour to give to you the Peter Clement Memorial Garden. Shall we see if we can get a countdown going? Everyone with me? 10, 9, 8, 7.
Now, Alex, control the message.
Mom, we have to get you to safety. Come with us.
I'm not leaving, I can't. You two, come with me. Don't panic. Here, look, we're going to help you. We need a medic here. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Just do. Okay.
I'm not resisting. You're sore. Not resisting.
Turn the camera off. National Night.
Do you understand?
Yes,
Yes,
Mom.
Keep your eyes open.
Who the fuck?
Look at me. Stay with me. Help me. Stay with me. We've got you. I've got you. I've got you. Just stay with me.
From the National Nightly News.
Well, then you can consider this payback. Salisbury's still here.
Organization. Centigrades are requested. Target approaching Songbird. Haven't you done enough? Look around you.
Fucking
This is what your precious freedom looks like, is it? Under fire!
People of territory one, rise up! Take to the streets, the government's call! Great kingdom, call them out, they can't stop us all!
Lower your weapons!
Mom?
I said, lower your weapons now! Centigrade authorization was granted. None. It was unnecessary. Can't you see? Will you turn that off, please, sir? I said, please turn that off. Please turn that off.
Shocking scenes from the capital there, exclusively on the National Nightly News, and our apologies to any of our viewers who might have found this evening's events upsetting.
Why are you not in the streets with us tonight? What will it take for you to get up and be a part of this? March on team headquarters, storm the building, demand elections, demand answers, be what you were born to be, the once and future free.
Go away. We'll be back after this. God, does anyone know if everyone's safe? Are the crew okay?
All fine. The bomb was a good distance.
Alex, I don't know what else to say. We need your help. I'm begging you.
Or touch-ups, or pit stops. Just intense colour that lasts and lasts. Only La Douleur gives you high-impact colour with new shade lock technology that locks in colour from
Alex,
one.
during this next section, a cameraman working in the newsroom who's one of us is going to get a coded location out. We don't know yet which camera he's on, but if we find out, I'll let you know. Just keep your eyes out for the fist and try and keep it on the air for at least 5 seconds. Our operatives will do the rest.
The new La Douleur range, only from Eye of the Beholder.
This is your new makeup, Craig?
No.
Because life is
no.
10 seconds, everybody. Sorry, Craig. It's a no. Okay, we are going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News with me, Megan Wolfe. Very shortly, we'll be heading on over to the final episode of what has quickly become a hugely successful feature, the notice board. But before we do, let's chat with Philippa Radon. Tell me, why do you think the public love the notice board so much?
It's real. There, I said it. It connects with people. You know, people look at us and they say, those are real people struggling with real problems.
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying to my PA's secretary as I got out the limo, I was saying, it's good for people to see normal, authentic